That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us. And for all y'all can ponder this, and you can write in and tell me, is there any true use for ice?
You heard it here. We don't need ice anymore.
Or the penny. That'll be another.
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Billman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
Hey, and we're just trying to have a conversation without Google or fact-checking online. If you're new to the show, that's kind of our deal. We don't want to kill the conversation with, just coming out with information, but we may kill the conversation with our ignorance.
We have had a lot of conversation. I mean, it's been a busy month in the TDSR Campbell City studios.
Yeah, October has been a busy month for us. Yes,
we had the big interview with Eric Apt.
Hey, Eric, how's it going? Shout out to Eric Apt at the Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina.
Went straight from that to the raw.
Lots of giveaway. We gave away the big gas grill.
I think Kessler won the grill. That was great. And then we went straight into the interview with the haberdasher of TDSR, David Bryant. And
if you didn't look up, I give everyone permission to go on YouTube and look up Cowboy Pinball, because there is a very clear image of what goes on at Cowboy Pinball. It actually made the news, a lot of different news stations around the country. You can watch clips on it, because some of these guys were getting flipped in the air and not getting up.
Did you see the one that was all women?
No.
There was one that had there was all girls out there.
No.
And several of them got plowed over. Somebody showed that to me today.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. It's so you're right. But we've had it's been
busy.
We'll start decorating soon for Thanksgiving in the studio. But
right.
I have got.
It's just you and I tonight, right? Anybody
it's just
else here?
You and me and a mic.
Here's the mic.
And we're back.
And our listeners. So thanks again for joining us. Thanks for listening in.
So I've got a topic for you tonight that came up at lunch today.
So if y'all haven't listened before, a lot of you have, but if you haven't listened before, often one of us will bring up a topic and the other one will not know what we're about to talk about. And these are usually our most favorite episodes.
Yep.
So I don't know what's going on tonight. I'm pretty excited. I've got a nice glass of Texas bourbon.
Very good bourbon.
Actually, no, it's actually blended whiskey. It's not bourbon. I don't.
Very good blended whiskey.
You should know the difference.
I should, since I'm a bourbon steward.
You're a bourbon steward. You should check out the episode where Cecil talks about being a bourbon steward.
Official with the Kentucky Distillers Association, Moonshine University.
I've seen his certificate.
So I've got a topic tonight. When I say it, I think you're going to react to it, but then as it sinks in, because I heard it today at lunch, and as lunch was over, I was like, I think this is a podcast. So here's the topic. It's one word, 3 letters. It's ice.
Ice.
Now you've got to.
All right.
So to stick to the brand, eventually I've got to show you why this doesn't sound right. But here's what doesn't sound right.
Ice don't sound right.
Here's what doesn't sound right.
All right.
That we got to think about. There is no need in America, and we're just speaking in America.
Yeah.
There's no need for ice.
There's no need.
There's no need. Think about it for a minute. Now, I'm not talking about refrigeration. I'm not talking about freezing or food storage.
Well, you're saying because we have all that, we don't need ice?
We don't need ice. Why do we have ice?
Iced tea.
Right. Well, right. To make drinks cold, but you can do that in a refrigerator. If you put ice in your drink, you're just diluting your drink.
Oh, no. You need ice.
Now, I realize a lot of people are like, they eat the ice. But coming back to the original question.
Yeah.
Do we need ice? Now, but here's where I want you to go with this.
Okay.
You go to a hotel.
Yeah.
On every floor of the hotel is an ice maker.
Still, there's still ice makers.
There's still ice makers.
What's in your room?
There's ice in the room.
No,
there's an ice bucket.
This silly little bucket.
Yeah.
With a silly little bag.
To go get ice.
To go get your ice.
Right. in this town that we live in, so especially if you're overseas, in our town, there are kiosks where you can drive up and buy bags of ice.
Oh, yeah.
No, standalone.
Oh, no, I've seen them.
They are ice making buildings.
They're like little shacks.
Yeah, they're probably what, 8 by 10?
That's it.
And it's all
You go in there, you feed your dollars.
Yeah.
And you have the choice. You can stick it in a bag.
Yes.
Or there's a big chute where you put your cooler in.
Right.
And it just shoots it right.
A bunch of ice.
Those are the greatest things, actually.
Right, standalone ice makers.
Yeah. And I'm surprised we have them in Winston.
Yeah.
You see them a lot in the coast.
At the coast.
But you know why they're good at the coast? Because people are going on the beach.
Right.
They're going camping. They need their coolers full of ice. They need their coolers full of ice.
No. You don't need.
You need ice to keep that cold.
You get the cold packs.
Cold packs?
Yeah, you get the blue cold packs, the freezer packs. That you put in the freezer and you put it in there. I think this guy's right. I think the guy I ate lunch with today.
The thing is, no. When those cold packs run out, what you got? A bunch of plastic that's warm that does nothing. What do you do?
But you just have warm water when the ice melts.
No, now you're trying to keep your luncheon meat cold.
But why would you do that?
No, because you're on the beach.
Now here's the only thing. You're probably the wrong guy to talk to this about, because you do go for extended times out on the beach where you have to have some type of refrigeration.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think you can make a solid argument that we do not need ice.
Okay, so if I skip my outdoor activities. If I skip my outdoor activities, do I need ice?
Well, let me make one other argument first. All right. So used to, you'd go on a trip, you'd pack your cooler full of ice, and you'd put you're going to the beach. Yeah. And you take some groceries with you.
Sure.
But now, on the trip down to the beach, you can bring up your phone and order all the groceries that you want to the grocery store that's at the beach and pick them up on the way to the house.
That's fine.
No need for ice. You don't need to transport food anymore.
No, you don't. No, not for that. No, you're right.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Barely.
I feel like
I think this is one of the episodes that if I were listening, I'd be throwing my phone out the window. Yeah. Cecil, what are you talking about? Of course we need ice.
I don't think we need ice. I think we could do away with ice. Think about all the energy that we put toward.
Takes a lot of energy.
What's the one thing that breaks on your refrigerator repeatedly?
Well, if you have an ice maker.
It's the ice maker.
But if you just have the cubes, the little trays of water you throw in there.
Yeah. But we have makers in our refrigerator that's making ice. And they're not efficient.
Do you use ice?
I don't like ice particularly.
So
people make fun of me because when I order a drink, I always order it without ice.
I have some sweet tea, no ice.
Yeah,
I want a water with lemon, no ice.
And then the waitress will say, "Well, the sweet tea is warm," and I'm like, "I don't care." I mean, say it nicely. Yeah, like, that's okay. I will drink the warm tea. Okay. And so they bring it.
Really, you don't like ice?
I don't like it, and here's why.
Tell me.
It's a very specific reason. When I was growing up, McDonald's opened in our little town. Yeah. And you would go get a drink at McDonald's.
Wait a minute. Is this Cary, the little town?
On the farm.
Some kind of outpost in the middle of the world?
No, this is Cary.
Cary, okay.
Was,
fair enough. I didn't know which Cecil I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, in the 80s, Cary was a little town. So McDonald's opened, you go to McDonald's, and they would pack the cup full of ice.
So I hate that.
I do too.
I hate that.
And so to get around it, I started ordering my drinks without ice.
Right, and I do that also. And most of the time, the carbonated water and the syrup that come out are
cold.
Yeah, they're at least cool. They're not warm. That's for sure. Yeah. They don't want to. In fact, they don't want to make that warm because the carbon dioxide bubbles out really quickly if the water's warm. So they got to have some chilled water, or at least cool water. Yeah. So I do the same thing. Another thing I don't like. And I don't buy iced coffee at these stores, Starbucks or whatever, because it's all ice.
Yes.
It's barely a shot of coffee after you get all the ice in there.
Exactly. So I abandoned ice in my teen years because of McDonald's. Have not drank it. I don't get drinks with ice in it.
So when you got that tent that you let me borrow,
yes,
it's about the same time you gave up
about the same time I gave up ice.
All right, this is
I gave up waterproofing and ice at the same time.
Quite the correlation we have there, Cecil.
But generally speaking, I don't think you need ice.
Now, when I made that Manhattan for you that you really liked, guess what I used?
Used ice, but here's my rebuttal.
No, you got one for a chilled drink. All right.
What if you just iced your alcohol?
Kept it cold?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now there's no need. Now now it doesn't water it down, and it's cold.
When we were at your house, you have those ice
Rocks.
rocks.
Yes.
No, they're not. They're not ice rocks. They're rocks.
Right.
It's kept in your freezer. So they're kept at what?
32 degrees. 28 degrees.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we may have evolved. We have at least gotten beyond having ice makers on every floor in a hotel. I don't see any reason for that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, who really drinks that much ice water? Because
Right.
half the time when you walk up to the hotel, they ask, do you want a bottle of water? Yeah, sure, I have a bottle of water.
Right. And there's refrigerators.
I'll throw them in there.
Right. But yet there's an ice maker on every floor. And we have standalone ice makers.
Now, I do know that when I'm at a hotel at a town where there's some kind of sports tournament, in the morning, those ice machines are empty.
Yes.
Because everyone going to the sports tournament has taken their cooler, stuck it in that machine, and just filled it up with ice.
Right.
We need ice.
I don't think we need
ice.
I think you need. Well, okay. Here's the other side of this.
Do you like warm water? You're probably okay with warm?
I would drink warm water.
I know you would, but do you like it?
Not necessarily, but I have a refrigerator that gives me chilled water.
Aside from living at home, when you're out and about exploring the wilderness, being out on bog fields, when you prefer to have a cool drink,
Sure.
Then.
But I think I can get
water.
it without ice. I can do it with cool packs.
Oh, you're still in this cool pack thing.
But here's the other thing. I think we've just become obsessed with this because, for example, there's some coolers now that'll keep ice frozen for 4 days.
That's right.
But you might be the exception to the rule.
And I do have one of those. I don't have that brand name, but I do have a cooler that will hold things really cold for a long time.
You're the exception to the rule because you do go to the Outer Banks and live out there for days at a time
and
without power refrigeration. Right. But the average person, I do not think, needs to keep ice frozen for 4 days. 4 hours, maybe.
Well, there are people that really they value their cold drinks. Okay.
I just don't think we need that technical of a cooler.
So you are in favor of. So what should we do about this over icing problem?
I think we can maybe reduce. And then I got to thinking after this conversation came up about all the power that we spend making ice. And most of the ice that you make, you just let it melt.
You're not drinking it.
Right.
It's melting and you're tossing it under the ground.
Right. So you've taken all this power to create ice only to let it melt and just drain away.
Right. Quite the ecological dilemma here about ice.
I feel like you might be coming around my way of thinking just slightly.
No, I'm a little, but still, so much of our culture is outside. So much of us like to be outside. We like our cold drinks. We'd like to keep things cold.
Do you carry ice with you on a routine basis?
Yeah. If I'm going to spend a day watching some kind of sports tournament for one of the kids,
you've got a cooler of ice.
I would have a cooler with ice. Now I do have those cold packs, but they just don't last.
Right.
They just don't last.
Neither does
but
ice.
I will tell you, I feel like the ice lasts longer. I feel like the ice keeps them cooler longer. Now I have moved over to these cool packs. So if I'm doing a day trip up to see somebody, a day trip, and I'll have a cooler. I think I now use enough cold pack. I have enough cold packs that will keep me good for the day. But then I don't have a way of cooling them off again.
Recharging, yeah.
I don't have a way of recharging them unless I'm home or somewhere where I can put them in a freezer overnight and then start all over again. I think the answer your dilemma though are these, and there's a lot of them now, and they've become more affordable. Are these 12-volt coolers that actively cool whatever's in them?
Yes,
I think that's the answer to your dilemma. In terms of ice and plug them into your car, especially if you're on a road trip.
I think we may be over ice. I'm going to posit, and this is the thing that doesn't sound right, that we might have a we might have an over dependence on ice.
It'd be interesting to see what the numbers are on ice. You heard about, we just well, I don't know if it's celebrates the word, but we just had Halloween go by, and I forgot what the number was. It $6 billion we spent on candy.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's an incredible amount.
So I'd be wondering. I'm curious to know how much we as Americans spend on ice per person, and I'm just talking about buying a bag of ice at the grocery store.
What's a bag of ice cost? $3 for a 5-pound bag?
It just depends.
Right.
It can even.
And again, you've got big freezers at both the grocery store and the gas station that are full of bags of ice.
And you know how that ice got there?
I don't know.
There's in a big truck.
Yeah.
Trucks delivered these ice. There's these ice companies. That's all they do is they have there's an ice factory in Winston-Salem.
Right.
There might be two.
There's a company that all they do is freeze water.
They freeze
and
water.
then we buy it.
Yeah. Think about the margins on that. They're making a ton of money.
They got to be making a ton of money. And then obviously people invest in the kiosks. Because you think, okay, well, I pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for it, but people are driving by routinely and buying ice. Now, I can think of one thing that you would need ice for. And that's making ice cream the old-fashioned way.
Okay, but again, your argument stands.
What's that? There's other ways to do it.
There's many other ways to do it. There are actually probably better ways.
Is there anything
have you ever made ice cream that way?
Like in the backpacking ice cream where you put it in that ball and throw it around?
No, with ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd it turn out?
A little grainy, but all right.
A little grainy?
Yeah. It's hard to make it smooth that way.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it once, and if you've never done this, one of the things you do is you sprinkle salt on the ice.
Right.
And
rock salt.
Rock salt. Why do you do that?
I think I used to know. I'll take a guess since we're on the show.
It has something to do with the temperature.
Yeah. It maintains the temperature at a certain degree.
It lowers the freezing point, right?
Yeah.
And so
this is sounding familiar now.
So it lowers the freezing point, which actually does cause it to melt. But it maintains that water at 32 degrees.
Yeah.
And so then you have more surface area against this metal tube that's spinning around and mixing the ice. So when I made it, it was an older machine, and that metal tube had a leak in it. And guess what didn't leak out and what leaked in?
Salt.
So we had this salty peach ice cream. I was looking forward to it so much.
This is another podcast, but I read this week that America's being oversalted in just a lot of the chemicals that we put out. That's another podcast. But back to this.
All right.
Is there anything, let me posit this differently. Is there anything that you have to have ice for? Is there anything that we couldn't do without ice?
Slushies.
Like, that's critical. That's critical. That you need ice for. You have to have ice.
What about for injuries? Icing a sprained ankle or a blown out knee.
You've got all those cold packs now that shape to your. You can actually even get like refrigerated sleeves that cool down injuries.
All right. What about ice baths?
Again, I don't think you need the ice to make the water cold. You could do it just with refrigeration technology.
So you
wouldn't have all that ice floating around. In fact, that's probably a pretty inefficient way of doing it.
That's right. You're better off having a machine right next to your tub, dropping that temperature to 32 degrees.
32 degrees, yeah. And then keeping it constantly there, because again, the ice is melting.
Right. But what else do we need ice for?
People have to write in.
What was your conversation? Did y'all talk about this?
He just threw it out there.
Did y'all come up with something you needed ice for?
I was so busy trying to process it in my head, thinking, because I don't like ice. And then I was like, maybe he's right. Maybe ice is like the penny. We don't need it anymore.
We don't need ice.
We needed it at one point, and we think we still need it.
Y'all heard it first here. We don't need ice.
But I don't think we need ice anymore.
Whoa. Well, okay. What are the exceptions? Let's clear the exceptions.
Yeah.
So the exception is me.
You are the exception to the rule only because of your trips out to the Outer Banks. And also my good friend DB, he also takes trips out to the Outer Banks.
So any kind of
now,
outdoor camping and
But I would say you could take a generator and a refrigerator.
I could.
You could.
I could do that.
I mean, because the amount of stuff y'all haul out there, it would not be unheard of.
Right. I would need. Yeah.
You probably have a generator out there.
We do have a generator out there. It's not. We don't. The thing is, we wouldn't have a cooler big enough to keep all our stuff because we've got bait and we've got food for a week and.
Right.
And we are buying a lot of ice. I mean, we're changing out the ice. And we're managing the coolers, keeping them closed.
Where do you get ice out there?
Well, believe it or not, the ranger station out there has an ice machine. It's cranking out the ice, man. Actually, no, I take that back. No, this is they don't have an ice machine. They have those ice coolers, and they bring ice over on a ferry.
Really?
Yep, they keep it stocked from a ferry.
From ice.
An ice truck comes over on the ferry, puts ice in the cooler, and then leaves. So the question is, why don't they just buy a couple ice machines?
Yeah.
That's a lot more
You
efficient.
should put an ice maker over on that island. You'd make $1 million.
Oh, my gracious, yeah.
At least for a few months.
We have one of those mobile ice machines.
Yeah. All right. Well, it doesn't sound right. I wish we had the rights to have Ice Ice Baby be the background music to this. It doesn't sound right. And for all y'all can ponder this, and you can write in and tell me, is there any true use for ice?
You heard it here. We don't need ice anymore.
Or the penny. That'll be another podcast.
The penny. All right.
If we got rid of it, think of all the money that you would save not generating ice and not having pennies.
We'd save pennies. We'd save pennies, I think.
On the ice?
Yeah.
No.
But we don't need pennies.
Millions and billions of dollars in electrical that you wouldn't have to spend.
Anyway, before we close, we want to thank everyone listening. If this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with? Also, if you're a longtime listener, please give us a rating and leave us a review so others can easily find us enjoying the conversation. One thing everyone might notice in the past episodes is that we had ads during our episodes, and it was an experiment, and we earned pennies, and we felt the disruption was just too much. So we've turned off that feature, and we have effectively turned down pennies of revenue from having ads on our podcast. Thanks for enduring the experiment with us. We'd like to hear some feedback if you even noticed, or if you didn't. I got feedback that people noticed.
So the feedback you got was typically negative.
Yeah.
Feedback I got was that people that listen to a lot of podcasts didn't even notice it on our podcast.
No kidding.
Yeah. But these were people that listen to a lot of podcasts that were used to commercials.
Right.
I think most of the people that listen to our podcast are not necessarily podcast listeners in every case.
Right. For some reason, they're just listening.
They're just listening
to
us out of pity or love or whatever. So we have turned down the tens of cents. So we'll need patrons to now support us like the old days.
That's right. We are trying to figure out how we can improve our equipment. We've been given offers to change our editing, to help us with editing. That also costs money, so we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. We'll probably have an episode on here that you can listen to that has been edited.
Professionally edited.
And we'd love to hear your feedback. We're getting ready to, we'll be launching that here real soon.
All right, so That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcasts in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I am your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your other host and your web designer. Please go see the website because he puts a lot of work into it and money.
Clickety-click.
Camille is our barista. Emily does our graphic design. Ella does our Instagram. Giorgio tests our merchandise. Brent is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is
Scott.
So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.